Hi everyone, welcome to Sihle Medic's channel. My name is Kelebogile and I am one of Sihle's classmates. He has asked me to make a feature on his channel talking about my first year expectations versus reality of my first year of medical school. Before we start though, I hope that you guys, firstly, I hope that you guys enjoy the video. Please don't forget to subscribe to his channel, don't forget to comment, don't forget to like, and yeah, I hope you enjoy the video. I am a what we call non-traditional medical student, so I basically didn't get into medicine immediately after matric. I had to go do a degree and I worked before getting in. At some point just before writing my matric finals, I had made up my mind that, you know what, unfortunately I was not going to be able to become a doctor. And I think back then there weren't a lot of like resources or people talking about their medical journeys. So for me, matric and like getting in from matric was the end and be all, or doing a BSc. My parents advised me against it. So then I got accepted at Wits. I went to dental school, and in my first year of oral hygiene, I think I was still very determined to become a dentist one day and to work with teeth, and something along the way snapped for me and I decided, you know what, I don't actually want to work with teeth. Being at Wits, well, I think it's most health science faculties, is that everybody is on the same campus. So your medical students, your dental students, oral hygiene, nursing students, physiotherapists, pharmacy, clinical associates, everybody that's in the health science faculty is on the same campus, and it's a very small campus. So most of the time I saw people with their stethoscopes and I was like, oh my word, God, I really want to be there, you know. And the more I started seeing like young black girls wearing their stethoscopes, I'd see, because a lot of the people had like a badge that they wore and it would have what degree they're in, or their name would be written on their scrubs and what degree they're in. And I started seeing a whole lot of black girls and I was like, oh my word, what if I could do medicine after this? Because a part of me knew that I've always wanted to try and work with, like, I always knew that I wanted to work with people. So I think that's why I was just okay with settling for working with people's teeth. However, the more I just got exposed to seeing black women, young black women who are medical students, the more the idea in my mind just started planting itself like, sis, you could actually do this. So I did some more research. A lot of the people that I hung out with were doing BScs, and they wanted to get into the Wits GEMP program via BSc. And unfortunately for me, I could still get in, but I'd have to take maybe another year out to do the maths, physics, biology prerequisites that are required from first year university level, because in my degree, oral hygiene, we didn't get to do those subjects. So in my mind, I was like, okay, maybe, just maybe I can actually do this, and just maybe I can get into GEMP, even though I wasn't too sure about it. And one thing that I think I knew was that I did not want to do dentistry anymore. I didn't want to work with teeth anymore. Like, I was just like, it's not for me. I can't remember, but there was a South African YouTuber who made a video about how she got into medicine indirectly, and it wasn't even the GEMP program, it was starting off from first year. So in my mind, this whole time in my mind, I was like, I actually don't want to start from first year, because that's another 6 years on top of the 3 years that I'm doing, which is going to be a total of 9 years in school. And in my mind, I was just like, I cannot do that. So I just started doing more research, and I think I had placed my mind on the fact that, okay, I'm going to take a year off after my degree, do the prerequisites for GEMP and get into GEMP. However, as time went on, I think I just started warming up to the idea that, you know what, Gile, there's actually no problem with you getting into a 6-year degree program and starting from first year. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And even if you do, or even if you don't get into GEMP and you get into another medical degree, you're still going to be a doctor at the end of the day. So I think for me, one thing that really put pressure on me to try and get into the GEMP program was time. I was like, I cannot waste too much time. But you know, as the world goes and as the sayings go, we make plans, but God obviously plans out how those plans will come to fruition. And in my second year, at this point I had already decided that I actually want to do medicine and that I'm going to pursue medicine and that I'm going to take as many possible avenues as I can to try and get in. Our degree was extended, so that meant that we were not going to finish the year that we were supposed to finish. Now for me, that felt like a backlash, because it's like, sweetie, I don't have 3 extra months, I don't have 6 extra months, I basically do not have the whole year to wait. In my mind, I was technically supposed to be starting medicine first year in 2019, and when that happened, I just felt like, oh my goodness, all my plans are crashing, like things were not going my way. And so that happened. And I think through everything, I mean, my third year of my degree of oral hygiene was a very challenging year, not because it was difficult or because the work was too much. It was just a very difficult year in that I had to bring my mindset to the game. Like, it's okay, yes, we're here a little bit longer, but we're going to finish, and what matters is we finish off strong. And I think that was the most difficult part, just having to show up every single day knowing that I didn't finish in record time, knowing that we've been kept back, and obviously that is a failure to a lot of people. I just kept telling myself that I have to keep going regardless of the situation and how it presents itself. I have to keep going, and I needed to keep the end goal in mind, which was getting into medicine. And so we went through 2018, and the first 3 months of 2019 we obviously were still at school, and that meant that for the rest of 2019 I had to decide, what am I going to do? Am I going to sit at home? Like, I had to make a decision. And so I decided, okay, you know what, let me actually try and go work and then study part-time. So in my mind, I was still very trying out for the GEMP program. So I was like, I'd work part-time and I'd study part-time. Now that I'm thinking back, it was just putting myself through unnecessary stress loads, because I had just finished a degree. Now I want to go into this fixated program that's almost like a BSc first year for the remaining 7 months. However, in that, I also wanted to work. So it was almost impractical, but because I was so determined to get into GEMP, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and shuffle as much of myself as I can and try and do as much as I can. And I think 2 or 3 months into doing this part-time working, part-time studying, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to work full-time and I am going to stop studying. At that time, I had already applied. So I had applied to most universities in South Africa. I think the only university that I didn't apply to was Walter Sisulu University, but I applied to every other single medical school. And I then worked for the rest of the year. And to be quite honest, I had the best time of my life working, guys. In that, I was obviously waiting. I was waiting for a response from anybody. And at this point, not that I was desperate, but at this point I was like, whichever medical school sends me an acceptance letter first, that is where I'm going. When this year started, I was so excited. Little did I know, I'm about to go through the most. Guys, first year medicine at Tux. Y'all know, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. I think on top of everything, the fact that Corona also happened was like, I cannot believe it. I could not believe half of the things that were happening to me, literally from the second week of school right up until the last week of school. I was like, there's no way. There is no Wait, I've done university before, so I sort of know the loops and the ropes and how things work around here. So I'm not gonna be relaxed, but at the same time, I know how things work. Fine. So our first year, we have, I think, roughly 8 or 9 modules, right? And we are on the Hatfield campus. We are doing the BSc curriculum at this point. I did 4 modules, and in my mind I was like, oh, okay, other people are doing 8 modules, I'm only doing 4 modules. I got this, we good, we passing reshap. Guys, oh, everything else was okay. Chemistry, I just felt like, what the hell, what is this, child? The ghetto.
Oh! Ah, the ghetto! The ghetto.
Our first chemistry semester test we wrote on campus, because this was before COVID. We wrote it on campus, and I mean, I didn't do great. I had literally just made it, right? I think I got a 49 or a 50, but in my head I was like, that is great, sweetie, we're doing great. Next semester we're gonna do even better, right? And then COVID hit, so I was like, okay, no, chemistry is going to now be doable, because I mean, I'm going to be writing online tests, like everything is in front of me. Actually, when I think about it, I don't know, I'm so traumatized because of it. But anyway, COVID happened, and so that meant we had to do online school. Everything else was still okay. Philosophy, physics, MLB. Yes, there was a lot of work in those respective modules, but it was doable. It was understandable. Chemistry, guys, I've never passed a chemistry test since first year started, so I don't know how I'm gonna pass, but I will pass. I don't know how, but I will do it. I'll figure out a way. Guys, I studied, I practiced. You know, to this point, I keep saying, if it wasn't for some of my classmates and some of my friends who we'd practice together, we'd study together, if it wasn't for them and us, I went to lessons, I went to extra lessons, I did workshops. Like, at some point, a few days before I was going to write the chemistry exam, I broke down, because I was like, Lord, like how can I get this far? Like, how can you get me into medicine and then I'm gonna fail because of chemistry? How? No ways. Like, guys, I was so stressed. The stress that chemistry brought me was a different type of stress. I never experienced that type of stress before. It was that type of stress, like, I was like, I don't need a 60, I just need to pass, I just need to be done with this module. And thank the good Lord, you know, things happened and I wrote the exam and I passed. So that then meant, yay, I'm done with chemistry for the rest of my life. I was so happy. Another reason I was happy was because, oh my word, we're now officially moving to the medical campus known as Prince. Now, I think for me that was like, yes, I can't wait, because now I feel like we're going to start doing things that are like related to medicine. I thought things would get better. Things did not get better. In fact, things just escalated. You know, like, things were just getting worse. Like, it was getting heated. Like, I was like, oh, what about our first block of medical school at Prince? It's designed in such a way that every single week you write a test. Okay, let's say there's a block, right? And in that block there's mini blocks. So the first mini block was 2 weeks. So in that first 2 weeks we do physiology, genetics, a bit of anatomy, and some embryology, if I'm not mistaken. And then we'd write that work the first week, and in the second week we'd write the work that we did in the first week and the second week. And it would still be physiology, anatomy, just different topics. And then the second mini block was 4 weeks long, and it was histology, embryology, physiology, a bit of anatomy, like, it was just a whole lot of other things. And you were still writing every single week on a Monday. At the end of the 4 weeks, you would write the work of the past 4 weeks that you were doing. And then we'd have our third mini block, which was, I think, 3 weeks. and whatever work you did weekly, you'd still have your weekly tests, and then at the end of the 3-week block, you would write work on the past 3 weeks that you did. At first, I was okay with it. I was like, okay, no, this is fine. However, as time progressed, I realized, oh no, man, I don't even have holidays, guys. Like, I don't have weekends. Like, when a Sunday comes, I'm having an anxiety attack because, oh my word, I'm writing tomorrow. And to be quite honest, some weeks are better than others. You know, I can't say my marks were consistent like this. Like, some weeks I'd get like an A and I'd be like, me. And then some weeks I just make it by to make sure that at the end I've got exemption. And so that does take a mental toll on you. I won't lie, it took a lot of mental strain from me. Like, most of the time I was just like, let me just write and get it over with, because I was just so constantly tired of studying. And at the end of the 8 weeks, I think it is, or the 9 weeks, I can't remember, we write a block test, and the block test is all the work that we've been doing for the past couple of weeks. Now, the fact that we were writing every single week, number one, it forces you to study. Like, you have no choice but to study every single day of every single week. Yes, you can take maybe a day off in the week. However, you in the pattern of studying, like, you're constantly studying. Studying is your thing. So even when the block test does come, it's like, okay, it's a lot, but you've studied this work before, you've seen this work before, you've been tested on this work before, so it's kind of manageable, you know. Like, sometimes the stuff that you don't study, it gives you the difference between you getting a 60 and you getting a 70 sometimes. Like, you will think, okay, I understand this process, I understand how muscles work, I get it, I get the overall process. And then they ask you about that small nana calcium channel at the very, very back, and you're just like, oh, they ask you like the weirdest stuff. They're like, oh no, sweetie, you need to know every single small little thing. My expectation was that I knew that medical school first year was not going to be easy, but I did not anticipate it to be like this. I did not anticipate the amount of work, first of all. Like, how am I supposed to study? Like, how am I supposed to study 300 lecture slides in a week, write on it, and then pretend like, and keep that information in my mind, and study maybe another 600-700 more lecture slides of different topics in a week, and write about the 300 and the 700 lecture slides? Like, Njani, how do you guys expect us to do that? Like, most of the time I was just like, this is too much work, child. You know, I thought I knew the kind of person that I am. I thought I knew how to study, you know, like, okay, yeah, this is how I study. I write notes, I then revise, then I answer questions. There's no time. There is no time. Whatever time you have, you need to use it wisely. You're gonna have to find a method that allows you to read your notes, revise it at the same time, so that when you are answering questions in the next 2-3 hours, you know what you're doing, because you don't have the time to come back to this lecture again. Like, the first time you study the lecture must be the first time and hopefully the last time that you study it. When you study it, you need to study it in detail. That was the main thing that shocked me, the amount of work and how little time there is. And apparently first year is a very chilled and relaxed year. So now I'm wondering, if I struggled with this year, how the hell am I gonna do the next 5 years? Like, how am I gonna manage? After block be okay, that's what it's called. I thought, okay, the worst of the worst is over. We're done. After this, then they call it introduction to pharmacology. So I was like, okay, we're just doing introduction. It's not gonna be too much. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna be fine. Okay. Sepedi was fine. Yeah, it's basics. I think the problem started when I thought, after Sepedi, I'm done. So in my mind, I hadn't really mentally prepared myself for pharmacology. And so when pharmacology started and they said to us, oh, you're going to be writing a test every single day, I was like, cut the cameras. Dead ass. Cut the cameras.
Cut the cameras. Dead ass.
Because what do you mean? What do you mean every single day? And mind you guys, the pharmacology that we were doing, we're in first year. I don't know pathophysiology. I don't know physiology in detail. So how are you gonna, I don't know respiratory physiology. So how are you gonna teach me about pharmacology and respiration when I don't know the physiology, when I don't know the anatomy? That means I now have to try and self-study respiratory physiology, respiratory anatomy. And I was just like, Yasnina, Aisha Miyazqhela. Wow. Guys, the strain of writing every single day, I was like, no ways. I was not having it. But whether I'm having it or I'm not having it, the aim is to pass. And so you have to make sure that you do everything in your power to pass. Get above 60 for the block test, then you don't have to write exams. And so you make sure that you fight. The night before Ongwala, you make sure that you fight and you put in as much information as you can in your head that is going to get you a 60%. It's a very chaotic, very strenuous program, but I love it so much. I feel and I know that I belong here, and I've just learned to remind myself baby steps. You know, as a person, you need to know yourself and you need to know how your mind works. You need to know your strong points and your weak points. And I know for one that I take time to adapt to new environments and new situations, but I eventually adapt, and once I adapt, I really excel. This year was that year for me. This year was the year of just learning from afresh. When you're in a degree like medicine, you are surrounded by extremely smart people, and it almost seems like your efforts aren't enough, and it almost seems like you're not smart enough. Sometimes you may even feel like you don't belong here, but I snapped out of that very quickly, just reminding myself that different paces for all of us, you know. Yes, I'm not getting A's this year, I'm not. However, I am doing just as much as I can, and I'm happy with that, you know, and I'm passing. That's what matters. Next year, I'll try again. If it doesn't work, I'll keep trying. At the end of the day, I am so thankful and so grateful to have been afforded the opportunity to pursue my dreams. The worst modules for me, without a doubt, chemistry. Hated it, will hate it, forever hate it. Yeah, worst module. And I think the best module, I really enjoy physiology. I really enjoy learning why things happen the way they, like, you know, I really just enjoy the integration of everything that comes with physiology. Please keep trying, please keep applying. Talk to people who are or who have gone through the same thing that you're going through, and keep your faith. Keep your faith. If medicine is what you want, medicine is what you will get. You know, keep the faith, keep working hard, keep being consistent. You may be in a degree right now that you're not really fond of, or studying something that you're not really fond of, and maybe you're even doing something that's making you feel like a complete failure. There's so many success stories that people talk about their journeys into medicine, and yours could be one of them. So regardless of the path that you are on right now, keep your end goal in mind, and your end goal is becoming a doctor. And in order to become a doctor, you need to get into medical school. So regardless of what it is that you're going through right now, keep that end goal. And when you're working, when you're studying, keep that end goal. I cannot emphasize how important it is to just visualize yourself as that person. Visualize yourself in medical school. You'll worry about everything else later, but in the moment where you are right now, see yourself as the person who's in medicine, and study as somebody who should get accepted into medicine. You know, I know it's easier said than done, but trust me, the fulfillment that comes with knowing that I did that for myself, I fought that much for myself, It's so amazing. So whatever degree that you're studying, any degree that you're studying, by the way, and you want to see yourself in medicine one day, keep fighting, keep studying, keep praying. Very important. Keep praying. You know, pray for perseverance, pray for patience, pray for understanding, pray for guidance. Just pray. I mean, that is if you are a praying person, but that's something that I would advise people to do. You know, like this journey in itself, it just requires so much from your soul and so much from your mind. It just requires a whole lot from you. And so to just keep yourself grounded, talk to God about it and put in the work, and you're gonna see the results are gonna speak for themselves. Guys, please don't believe this thing of you don't have a life in medical school. Make time. You will make time for things that you care about. Yes, there's a lot of work. There is. But medicine is not the end all and be all of your life, right? Yes, you want to be a doctor, but you have to develop yourself outside of being a doctor. You are a friend, you are a partner, you are this, you are that. So my advice to anybody that's going to be starting medicine, and I mean, I'm only in second year. Well, I'm still in first year, but next year I'm in second year. But what I'm trying to say is that in as much as I haven't experienced medicine fully, this is just me giving you advice from my first year experience. Study a lot, study as much as you can. However, please make time for things that you love and care about. If you love gymming, do it. You love taking photos and you love going out and seeing places, make time for it. There is enough time. There really is enough time. I know sometimes when we speak as people, we can over exaggerate. Yo guys, now I don't have time. There is time if you make time. Yes, 70-80% of the time you are studying, but that 20% you can literally just do something that you love. It doesn't have to be every weekend, once a month, once after the block is over, something, you know, because you can't always stay fixated on your books. That gets boring, and you really just don't want to get out of medical school being this one-dimensional person who only knows their schoolwork. What are your hobbies? You know, what do you do in your spare time? Who are your friends? What do you and your friends enjoy doing? So for anybody that's coming in, study. You will find what works for you, and your cup needs to be filled. So fill your cup with things that you enjoy doing. Guys, I'm not saying party every weekend, please. But I am saying there's so much more to life than your books. And sometimes when you feel that you're tired, rest. When you feel that you don't want to study anymore, stop. If you are coming in, obviously this is not for everyone, but I'm just saying, do not base your value on the marks that you get. Hey, sometimes you're going to get great marks and you're going to feel like you are the smartest person in this world, and sometimes you're not going to get the greatest of marks, but that doesn't take away from your abilities, from your strengths. You are still very much capable of finishing this degree, kicking ass with this degree, or finishing the year kicking that module's ass, you know. So don't base your value too much on the marks that you get. It varies, you know. Some days you'll be shocked, some days you won't be shocked. And yes, there are people who get A's consistently and almost every day. Good for them. Focus on you. You are in medicine for you, and enjoy it. I know it's hard to enjoy it, but enjoy it. So, like, know yourself, love yourself, take care of yourself, and things will work out. But most importantly, study. Study. You know, all these things can come afterwards. Most importantly, do your work, and you will definitely thank yourself. That is it. Thank you so much, Claire Medic, for having me on your channel. I really enjoyed making the video, and I hope that you guys enjoy it and that you guys take one or two things away from it. And please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe.